Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to the live session on Your Story is Important. So, today on Republic Day, we decided to conduct this conversation on COVID and its impact on mental health because I personally feel that freedom from some thoughts and some toxic patterns, to achieve freedom from that is also so important. And I think it's very important to take care of your mind and your mental health. So I think it was a good day to have a conversation today on Republic Day. And today's talk is with Dr. Ankita Priyadarshini, who's a neuropsychiatrist and a mental health professional. So let me just add her before we can. Hi.
Hello. Good evening and
Good
happy
evening.
Republic Day, first of all.
Yes, happy Republic Day to you too. Thank you so much.
Yes,
And welcome to Your Story is Important once again. We're so
thank you.
happy to have you back.
Thank you so much. And it's always been a pleasure to come here, join you, and join these beautiful audience who are always there, geared up for something interesting. And once
Yes.
again, thanks a lot for calling, giving me this
It's my pleasure to have you here.
opportunity. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So
So
as we
we'll
decided,
wait for few. Yes, we can wait for few more
yeah,
people to
we'll wait.
join. Like, yeah,
Yes.
yes, we can wait for few more
Yes,
people
yes,
because I can see
definitely.
people are joining right now.
Yeah. So today's talk is about a very interesting topic, I guess. It's been three
Yes,
years that we're in the pandemic. So I think again it's important to revisit
correct,
as to,
correct.
the
Absolutely.
ways to cope up with COVID and how, it impacts our mental well-being, physical health, mental health.
Correct. Absolutely. You see, COVID-19. It has been, a kind of change in scenario, not just for a particular sect of individual, but being a pandemic, it has affected everyone on various extremes of life. I would say, because nobody could
Yeah,
have anticipated something of this sort to have happened, and I see people talk about a particular sect too much, that okay, either the doctors are burdened too much, or the patients and the caregivers are burdened too much. But people don't acknowledge this, that it has affected overtly to all the sects of the community. And
absolutely.
it's just not about the physical symptoms that are cropping up related to COVID-19. People have kept mental health to an eccentric point. Okay, that it maybe it's
Right.
not that important, or maybe they feel that it's not something to be addressed so much, or probably they feel that only those which are affected with some mental health problem uh, are the ones basically being worsened by it. So no,
Hmm.
I would just like to draw the attention here that COVID-19 is just not about, I mean, this time it was just not about a physical problem or a mental health problem. Let's zoom out
Yeah.
a little bit and see from this perspective that COVID-19 has altered our daily routine. First of all, it has altered, it has made us into a social isolation, first of all, that we were not completely prepared for it. And thirdly, it has put some amount of financial pressure on everyone, irrespective of whether you hold a good job or a bad one, or you are jobless. Everyone is under that financial constraints. So nobody can
Right.
ignore these three domains where it has impacted, but nobody talks about it that much as they should be talking. Okay, because these
Right.
three things has been experienced by all the sects of the community. Okay, and
Yes.
from these things arise lot of information overload. What is right, what is wrong, people don't know. They are just
Yeah.
contemplating it. They are just throwing stones in the dark. Ki, okay, this can also happen, that can also be there. A lot of information overload, because this was not something which was backed by scientific data, backed by evidence, or anything of that sort. Everyone started doing research once it surfaced in the community. Then there are a lot
Right.
of rumors which are surrounding this. This might happen, that might happen. In fact, not just related to COVID-19. Once the treatment first came in the market, there were rumors surrounding the treatment also, and there were so many people who
Yeah.
were reluctant to take the treatment because of those rumors. So that thing is also there. Another thing, that a lot of misinformation. I don't know, there are
Yes.
a lot of
So
people, there are a lot of people who are spreading unbacked, unevidenced information to the people, and that is causing another sort of stress in them. So all
yeah.
these things combined, if we say, they somewhere make us feel out of control. Okay, how to control the
Right.
situation. And
Hmm.
it's a general human nature that whenever something comes, which cannot be controlled, which is out of control for them, it creates a little bit of panicky situation, that you don't know what to do. You really don't know what to
Yes.
do, where to
Yes.
go, how to handle such situation. So this has been an overview of how things have happened, and how they have caused a lot of problem to people. So this is where I would like to start, that how
Yeah.
COVID-19 affects us. Okay, so this is
Right.
just an
Right.
overview of where we stand at this point of time, and how people reacted to COVID-19 when it first surfaced. So
Yeah.
if we zoom out a little bit more, or we see it from this perspective, that COVID-19 has basically, for that matter, it has effect on our mental health. But
Hmm.
mental health also affects COVID-19. How we contract
Yes.
COVID-19.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody talks about that. Okay. Nobody talks
Hmm.
about, how they are interlinked. It's just not
Yeah.
one-sided thing. It's vice versa. Okay.
Right.
So with like, suppose if I like to put this way, what are the problems? What are the problem areas which we see, which are visible to our eyes? That is stress, anxiety. Okay, then we have
Hmm.
burnout, then we have sadness, sadness, and then sometimes we are too much pushed towards loneliness. Okay, these all
Yes.
things are very common, especially with, these are the common problems that people come across. They are the common problems which people voice out, that okay, these things are happening to us. And when someone suffers from COVID-19, these are the common things that they would say to their near and dear ones also, not just to the doctor, to their near and dear ones. So I have kept very common statements from them, which I have received on various
Right.
various juncture in my practice. Apart from that, once you are already suffering from these problems, once you are, you are sad, you are lonely, you are having anyway anxiety, you are having stress,
Panic
you are,
attacks.
yes, you are equally vulnerable, that it really brings your immunity down. It really creates so much of negative impact in your head, so much of fear of contracting illness, that to one extent
Yeah.
you somehow lose track of how to deal with them, and eventually you end up contracting COVID-19. I feel so, at
That is
least.
so true.
I
I
feel so.
also really feel this. If you
Yes.
keep on thinking about it, over and over again, I think in a way you just invite it to your, own life.
Correct. Because if you take steps so cautiously, like you are not even taking any step, you're bound to make
Hmm.
some or the other mistake, and
Hmm.
eventually it is going to get you, you are unbound to, it's just common that you will come across some or the other form of infection. But
Yeah.
your natural immunity has the ability to somehow cut it down to a basic minimal level. But somehow you become so much into it, that your natural immunity goes haywire, and somewhere you're not able to battle it that much. And plus, you're, of course, everyone's scenario is different. I would not say that it's the same. But once
Of
the
course.
patient, yes, once the patient, then again the person, if the person contracts COVID-19, again it's a vicious cycle of being sad, loneliness, stress, anxiety, burnout. Everything comes back to them all over again. Plus,
Right.
there's another entity called as brain fog, that is common
Hmm.
among the patients who have recovered from COVID-19. It is nothing but, it's just like there are patchy memory deficits that is common among them, that they're not able to remember things as vividly as they used to earlier. They have difficulty in, naming things, coming up with the right, format, right functioning way of doing things and dealing with them. So that is very common among them. And that has become a concept of research for new doctors that who are coming up right now, and they are exploring it, how this has happened. And eventually it all boils down to hormonal fluctuation,
Yeah.
lack of sleep, being stressed out, burnout, all these things boil down again to the same thing, same vicious cycle. It comes down, and that has resulted into brain fog also. So now these are certain things, which we have known for a very long time now, since already pandemic has been there for around 2.5 years now. So
Yes.
but the thing is, the problem here is these are something which are cropping on and off again. This is a
Yes.
third wave which has resurfaced, and somehow people have become adjusted to it. They now know how to go about, they now know how to recycle their whole system into putting up into something new, something reformative. Now the people have, they have accepted it as a lifestyle now. So
Yeah.
in the first wave, it was really difficult for people to cope with these things. And that was seen like during particular phase when the COVID had stuck for the first time. We see a lot of worsening of mental health disorders, especially
Yeah.
those who were already suffering from anxiety, those who were already suffering from depression, those who had OCD, because of this constant sanitization and constant,
Yes.
you have to rub your hands so many times. And it was just a food
Right.
for thought for those individuals who were already suffering from OCD. And their symptoms, their problems got worsened. And that was, we
Mm.
saw during our hospital admissions, we saw it during our practice period, that certain disorders, they got worsened during this COVID period. Apart from that, insomnia, that was very common before that also. And somehow, because of the COVID situation, with the so much of negativity around, with so much of misinformation, so much of death, so much of social media exaggeration about the current situation, a lot of people suffer from insomnia, always fearing that the next thing is going to be someone near and dear one contracting COVID,
Yes.
and eventually
Mm.
losing someone. So all those are stressful situations that led to insomnia in them. Apart from that, there
Mm.
was also worsening in substance use disorder. If I talk about that, it's addiction which I am talking here. That was
Right.
people who were already addicted to alcohol, people who were already addicted to smoking or any other form of drug. Mainly we see that alcohol and nicotine, that is cigarette smoking or any form of smoking, they got worsened during that period. Plus
Yes.
the government allowed it that you sit at home, and alcohol shops will be open for you for
Yeah.
recreational thing. That added, that added fuel to the fire, because people
Right.
were already stressed, people were already tensed.
Yes.
The working
Yes.
environment was brought back to your home, it was brought back
Right.
to the doorstep. So people were cocooned inside their houses, and this was a kind of abuse for them. Not just substance abuse, but also abusing the situation that they were already provided with. And that's how the things in substance use also got worsened. Those who were
Right.
already suffering from any addictive disorder, it became very much problematic for them. Also,
Yes.
if we bring to notice those who are already suffering from substance use disorder, uh, their lungs functioning capacity, they were more predisposed to heart failure. All these things again made them vulnerable to contract COVID-19, because
Right.
invariably it is reducing their immunity, invariably it is causing them predisposing them more to heart failure and all that. And once these people, they got admitted, there were higher rates of deaths among them. Okay. So
Yeah.
because they were already in a way predisposed to more comorbid situations, what we call, like, additional diseases that can come to you once you become vulnerable. So these
Right.
are all the things how this problem, this COVID-19 first led to mental health problems, and how it invariably somehow adding on to the diseases led to someone's death. So this is the whole
Hmm.
vicious cycle that had prevailed during COVID-19. But the good
Right.
part is, as and when we are progressing, as and when we are moving ahead, this the intensity of this viral infection has come down. So we are looking forward to a better case, an advantageous state, where not so much of comorbidity is associated with this disorder. But the sad
Hmm.
part is, that you still are cordoned inside your house. You still have to practice social distancing. You still
Hmm.
have to work from home. You still have to bear the same environment which you are there inside for the last 2 years. And
Hmm.
nobody talks about it, but a lot of domestic abuse cases have also increased due to COVID-19
Yeah.
situation. A lot of child abuse cases have also increased due to COVID-19 situation.
Hmm.
Lots of divorces have cropped up due to COVID-19 situation. And
Yes.
lots of what we call it, those who people who are not talking to each other, they were forced inside the house to now see each other's face and
Right.
communicate, you know so this thing has led to a lot of tiffs in the family. And somewhere we are seeing a lot of broken family as well because of this situation.
Dysfunctional family
Yes,
relationships.
dysfunctional,
Yes.
broken family. Children are, they do not have any scope to vent out their emotions. They do not have any scope. They are, completely cut out from the outside world. They are just there inside the house, and I feel that it has affected their developmental capacity to such an extent that I feel they are not, they are not the cognitive functions we say. The brain functions, how there should be appropriate development in them. They're not seeing development. So that has
Right.
also added to additional pressure on the family. So these
Hmm.
are some things which people don't talk openly about them, but they're also prevailing somewhere. And
Yes,
these things
absolutely.
add on to the pressure that one person is already going through. See, it's just not
Yeah.
about earning money. It's just not about work from home चल रहा है, घर में बैठ के अपना काम कर रहे हैं. It's just not about that. There are a lot of other things. You are basically cut from the social environment, and man is a social animal. He has to communicate. He has to voice out in the form of emotions, in the form of language. That is very important. And in the first wave, when this thing came that you have to maintain social distancing, somehow it led to social isolation. This
Yes.
thing is very tricky and very complicated here, because social distancing was told, but here people are socially isolating themselves. So basically, you are
Yeah.
putting yourself out from the community. Then how will you
Hmm.
survive? That is the whole question. So
Right.
because if especially for those who are, and who are extroverts, it's like you are literally putting them in a jail, that they are not able to
Hmm.
express themselves in any way. Introverts are okay.
Right.
They're like, okay, I am sitting inside the house, all right, I
Yeah.
can chit chat, I'm having my pleasurable time. But trust me, they did not last long. Even now they are
Hmm.
also having a lot of mental health problems. So the
Yes,
thing is,
absolutely.
ultimately, yes, ultimately social isolation is not the remedy. Social
Hmm.
isolation is not the measure. Social distancing is the thing that needs to be practiced. So
Right.
this is how COVID pandemic has affected all of us in all the
Hmm.
formats, in all the forms. And one should not ignore subtle changes in our own mental health, and one should talk about it more oftenly. One should inculcate this healthy habit of interacting with others. One should not just cut out from the society, just
Hmm.
be away from them, because that is not healthy as well. I have got few friends who tell me that their children, like now some of them already are having children in this age. So now they are like, the children of today's time, they think that the school is this box. This is school
Yes.
for them. Okay, so
I can
yeah, this is
imagine.
school for
Right.
them, and this is
Yeah.
how the teacher communicate, this is how the teacher teach, and this is how
Mm.
children play, and that is just
Mm.
happening inside a box. So we can imagine what is the level of development that they are going forward to. So
Mm.
this is the situation, and I can only imagine the amount of the amount of developmental problems that they are going to face in future, and the amount of burden that is going to put on the parents regarding this situation. So
Right.
one should always take into consideration to become as much social as possible with the rules and regulations given. Okay, so
Hmm.
this was the common thing. If anyone wants to know anything about this particular part, I'm ready to answer some questions. If not, then I will move towards the self-care strategies that we should be focusing upon.
Yeah, please feel free to ask questions. We have Dr. Ankita with us, who's explained, everything so objectively, of all the factors, which are there, when we're actually going through this tough time, and be it social or, personal aspect, professional life, I think addiction, you've covered all the aspects so beautifully also. I think my knowledge also got enhanced. So I think please feel free. I think if anyone has any questions, or probably later on also, I think if people
Yeah,
have questions,
definitely.
they can
The
reach out
platform is
to either
always
you
open.
or me. Yes. Yeah, and we'd be happy to receive the questions and get back to them with answers.
Yes, definitely. So let's move on to the second part, which is certain self-care strategies. We all know COVID-19 has impacted all of us at different sects, at different domains. But there are certain things which remain consistent, and that is how to motivate yourself, how to
Yeah.
stay consistent in your own routine, and
Yes.
how to keep yourself upbeat no matter what is happening around you. These two three things, they basically keep you focused, and it also motivates you or makes you channelize your energy into something constructive at this particular time, rather than
Yeah.
just being bounded by, or just being forced by negativity which is prevailing around. So I have segregated these self-care strategies into three parts. Okay, how to take care of your body, how to take care
Hmm.
of your mind, and then how to connect with others. Because as I always
Hmm.
said till now, that social distancing is the norm, social isolation is not. Okay, so I
Right.
will also be focusing upon how you can connect with others. So if we talk about how to take care of body, first and foremost is sleep. As I have said, that there are many patients who are suffering from insomnia, and it is a perpetual thing. You don't sleep, you feel tired, exhausted in the daytime, you take nap, and then again at night you won't sleep. You don't sleep at night, you will be exhausted throughout the day, you will not be able to concentrate on your work. That again adds on to the pressure. Then again you will be surrounded by so much of negativity around, again you won't get sleep at night. So you see, it's a vicious
Hmm.
cycle. So that keeps on
Right.
prevailing. So one should focus on getting enough sleep. Now what is enough here? For any individual in this current scenario, at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep is mandatory, taken for
Mm-hmm.
that. Okay, at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep, because sleep basically, why it is important, because it fixes your entire system. It rejuvenates you, it makes your body more relaxed, it makes you more functional. So that is why
Yeah.
enough sleep is very much important. Second thing is
Yeah.
physical activity. Because you are inside the house, you feel अरे physical activity के लिए तो बाहर जाना पड़ता है, but that is not the
Hmm.
always thing. Okay, so with the changing norms, there are changing practices also, which are being inculcated by people. Okay, so
Right.
earlier we used to feel that this home gym, or this digital platform where you can work out, these things are just for those who are lazy, just to cut the slack. But now they have become the
Yeah.
norm. Okay, so now
Yes.
they have become the norm. So I would suggest everyone to inculcate in some amount of physical activity. You choose what
Hmm.
you want to do. Either you want
Right.
to aerobics, you want to do, some pilates, you want to do whatever sort of an
Any
exercise,
body stretching
any
exercise,
body
any body
exercise,
movement. Right.
lightweight
Right.
exercise, anything for that
Hmm.
matter. It's up to you. Okay, so you have to pick, but the thing is, you have to inculcate. You have to
Yes.
practice
Very
it.
important.
You don't
Hmm.
have to, like, it's not just think that today, okay, I did it, tomorrow it's okay. Cut the slack. That's not the norm that should be followed.
You have to be
If you are
disciplined with yourself.
Yes, you have to be disciplined yourself. Discipline has always been, we have seen that those who are very disciplined with their life, we have seen lesser amount of infections in them, lesser amount of
Yeah.
problems with them, lesser amount
Hmm.
of, any form of mental health problems or physical health problems, given or take. Disciplined life itself brings so much of change in your body, so much of, reforms, I would say, that you could never have imagined. So that is very
That's
important,
very
that you
true.
maintain a physical activity consistently. That is the whole
Hmm.
point here. Another thing is eat healthy. If I talk about eat healthy, that doesn't mean that, okay, I have to continuously do a particular diet. I have to, restrict to a certain diet regime, that is keto or any form of, extreme diets. Here I'm talking, please don't understand it that way. Eat healthy means balanced diet. Okay, here I'm talking
Right.
about a nutritious balanced diet, which should be the part of your regimen. And preferably home cooked food, the better it is. Because again, you are taking outside food, you don't know what sort of ingredients are there inside it. So it's always, home cooked simple balanced diet should be the routine. So because it impacts your, physical health, it impacts your, whole system, like digestive system, your, the whole capacity of your kidneys. That also, everything depends upon, the diet that you take. And it also
Right.
helps in recovering from so many physical ailments that you are suffering from. If a person has already had COVID, they are always, they are always prescribed to have a nutritious and healthy diet, which is preferably home cooked. There's a reason for that. Because
Hmm.
if you cook something at house, it will have adequate amount and a balanced amount of all the ingredients. So preferably somebody should, someone in the house should take a note of what sort of, diet you are taking, which should be nutritious, which should be healthy, and which should strike a balance with your system. Every diet is different for a different person. So diet that
Right.
you are taking may not be same for me. So here what we are talking about is diet that suits your system. So that is very important. Don't go for
Hmm.
anything extreme, don't go for any crash diet or anything. Eat healthy, eat nutritious. That should be the aim. Another thing is to
Right.
avoid tobacco, drugs, or any form of, alcohol. One say, okay, beer to alcohol nahi hota hai, can we take that? No, beer is also an alcohol. You are not supposed to take that. So I'm especially making this a point because many people think that, okay, if I ask them, do you take alcohol? No, no, we don't take alcohol. Then when I asked them, are you sure? They said, okay, kabhi kabhi ek aadh beer le lete hain. Beer is also an
Hmm.
alcohol. And if I'm talking
Right.
about these substances, they are very common, especially during these pandemic times. A lot of people have resorted to, since they are there inside the house, they think there is no other recreational activity that they can, consuming alcohol. They started consuming, nicotine, just to while away the stress that they were already having.
Yes.
So
It's very
avoid
common
any
these
sort
days.
of,
Yeah.
yes. And we
Hmm.
have seen tremendous increase in the cases, especially during these COVID era. So
Yes.
you have to take control of that. You have to be, the person who has to take restraint in consuming those entities. So avoid alcohol, avoid tobacco, avoid any form of drug, because as I have said, they just don't make you vulnerable to any physical illness or vulnerable, for example, COVID-19 here. They also make you vulnerable to get mental health disorders in later life. Sooner or later, you
Yes.
are bound to get it. So it's just you're just pushing yourself to the edge where you can contract so many problems. So
Hmm.
that's why it is very, very important to avoid all such entities. Another thing is limit your screen time. Since you are at home, you have the liberty to sit in front of the box, be it any box. So you have this notion ki, okay, if you are not doing anything, let's indulge in either watching TV, or sometimes I have seen people, since seen many companies, they are forcing their employees to work for longer hours, because you are
Yes.
sitting at home. You have the liberty to sit at home, start working, and never stop.
Right.
That is the whole situation which is going on right now. So earlier, if they used to work for 8 hours, now they are pushed to work for 10 hours. Invariably their screen time is increased, because eventually you are working in front of this box. You are just exposed to so much of screen time. That has a profound impact on your mental health also. So you are
Hmm.
more prone to stress, you are more prone to burnouts, which are eventually leading you to become more and more vulnerable by reducing your immunity. Okay, so
Right.
since you are so much stressed at this particular point because of your work, you do not take care of your health as much as you should be at this point of time. So ultimately,
Hmm.
again, this whole vicious cycle begins. You are more predisposed to mental health problems, again you are more predisposed to physical ailments. So this is a perpetual thing which keeps on going, which should not be the cause here. So limit your screen time as much as possible. If you have to work, then you will have to cut down your time from Instagram, from social media, from sitting right in front of a TV. So these things are very important, because you are already giving yourself
Hmm.
so much of stress. Why to add on to
One has to
extra?
be conscious about these things, I think.
Yes, as much as avoidance could be exercised, that would be ideal here. Another thing
Hmm.
is relax and recharge. How can someone forget this? You have to relax, you have to recharge yourself. If you want something, something fruitful, if you want something to be, more high yielding, you have to give your body adequate rest. You have to give a pause here. So pause is very important for relaxing and recharging. One should never forget that hobbies are the best thing that should be exercised, irrespective of what the condition is. How can you forget your
Hmm.
hobbies? How can you
Hmm.
forget what you love to do? So if
Hmm.
I say relax means you can have your you can listen to your favorite set of music, you can read the books what you like, you can watch, if you like, if you like watching some movies, you can watch some movies. Give yourself a
Hmm.
little break, because that is equally important. You have been working from home, you are sitting in your home place and constantly being overburdened. It's time, you would like to unwind yourself a little bit. So all,
Right.
don't forget to relax, rejuvenate, have a cup of coffee, enjoy the weather. All these things are very important. These are very minute things, but they play a
Yeah.
lot of important role, in this current situation. Some people like gardening. They have their little bit small little house garden and all that. Some people, they have started learning about the hobbies that they would like to inculcate, they would have liked to inculcate before, but now because of the COVID situation they are trying their hands on so many stuff: painting,
Hmm.
dancing, music, everything. Anything that gives you a little bit of peace, anything that makes you a little bit alive in this current situation. You don't, anything that gives you a chance to break the monotony. All those stuff are
Hmm.
really really important. All those stuffs are really
Right.
important. Needless to say, they should be a part of our life, but somehow because of the ongoing trend, because of constantly running around somewhere, we have forgotten that how to go about it. So now is the
Hmm.
time. Then again, you should learn it, you should inculcate it, you should practice it. So these are the
Yes.
small tips that I would say how to take care of your body. Now if we come
Hmm.
back to how to take care of your mind, that is equally important here. So the main thing that should be focused, how to take care of mind, is to reduce the stress triggers. Whatever is causing you stress, that's a simple step. Reduce that, minimize it to an extent that it no longer bothers you. Okay, so
Hmm.
here it is mandatory that first of all you keep your regular routine. Whatever routine you are following, stick to it. Okay, like you should, if you are not following a routine, that is a different thing, because then you have to start from making a routine for yourself,
Hmm.
because that will keep you in a loop, that will keep you in a practice, and that would basically distract you from any form of negative energy that prevails around you. So that is very, very important here. So maintain a routine, stick to a routine. Second thing is limit exposure to news and social media. I have already mentioned this before, that social media plays a very crucial role in exaggerating the problems which are already prevailing. That is not good for your mental health. Okay, if there are so
Hmm.
many deaths in the world, if there are so many deaths around you, okay, why it is being showcased 10 times, 100 times, just so that it gets imprinted in the head of the people? Okay, so if
Yeah.
they can't stop, you stop. Stop
Yes.
seeing,
It's so
stop checking
important
out
to
the,
that.
yes, stop
Yeah.
checking out the news channel again and again. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
it creates so much of negativity around that. Few days, if many people could relate to this, that during the second wave they were showcasing, you know, how many deaths were there, how, you know, the crematorium grounds were like literally lit with
Yes.
fire, all that. Those things, they have profound impact on the mental health of an individual. Those who are, you know, very faint hearted, we call them, those who are not so much used to so much of negativity, so much of negative news around them, they really are jolted down to their spine, that okay, something of
Yeah.
this sort has happened and it has not done good to them. It cannot do any good to anyone. There are more that it can only lead to stress, anxiety, and, you know, especially a sort of anxiety what we call as illness anxiety. Though you do not have that illness, but still, you know, you start manifesting the symptoms in yourself, you know, that okay,
Hmm.
probably I do have this, I have started
Yeah. You
getting,
start believing. You start
yeah, you
believing in
start
it.
believing it, and then you start acting on it, that okay, I have definitely contracted this. Though I have seen so many cases in my practice during this time, that people do not have any sort of that illness, but still they believe in it so much that they start manifesting those symptoms, and, you know, they start believing it, no, I have contracted COVID, doctor is not doing enough to find this out. But the truth is, this time, I can genuinely say that it's not true. Okay, there are certain symptoms that can mimic, you know, other problems also, but because of the anxiety, these people feel that yes, I have contracted it, and it becomes very difficult for us to explain it to them that no, this is not the scenario here. There is a
Hmm.
possibility of other diagnosis also. So you see, this is what overexposure to social media and news channels can do to the patient. So
Hmm.
limit your exposure to news, limit your exposure to social media, stay busy. Okay, as I said, if you exercise a routine, if you make a routine, if you are doing at that particular juncture, it can always be help to you. Okay, so stay
Hmm.
busy, stay focused, do something constructive, do something productive. That is very, very important here. Another thing is
Right.
focus on positive thoughts. It cannot happen that there is no positive thing around you. Something or the other would be happening. I know negativity will be more, but there will be definitely some positive entity that would be going around. Simple positive
Hmm.
things, like you have accomplished a task. It's a positive thing. You know,
Yes.
you have
Yes.
finished a day, bang on your routine. It's a positive thing. You have
Yes. It is.
rejuvenated. You have called some near and dear one. It's a positive thing. So
Hmm.
focus on those positive entities, because it is absolutely necessary here, that, you know,
Hmm.
this will act as a distraction also for you. If you focus on a positive thing, you will be more distracted towards, you know, something more constructive, something more high yielding, rather than something which is already pushing you so much down already, it's sort of a detrimental thing for you. So
Yeah.
focus on that. Focus on something
Hmm.
positive. Focus on something constructive. That is the whole end line that I would like to highlight here. Another thing is set your priorities. Priorities are very important. Okay, if you
Hmm.
have, and while I'm saying set your priorities, means you have to set some realistic goals. Okay, you know that there is certain pandemic is going on around. You know that you won't be at a peak of your achieving capacity here. So set your realistic goals, what you want to achieve, in how much time you are going to achieve. Don't
Hmm.
be overcritical and don't be harsh on yourself. That should be the
Right.
cause here. because that's
Hmm.
equally important. And especially for children, it's like especially for children because they are not exposed as much as they should be at this particular point of time. I'm talking about all the students who are facing their exams. It's very uncommon, and we cannot even relate to them how they are doing their academics at this point of time, how they are doing their exams at this point of time. So it's a new era for them also, and it's a new thing for us also. So cut some slack to them, be more understanding to them, relate to them to some extent, so that they are not very harsh on themselves. Okay,
Hmm.
even they have lots of dreams, lots of career goals, which somehow get impacted during this phase. So you have to be a little gentle with them. You have to ask them to prioritize what is the basic thing that they want to do in this particular frame of mind, in this particular time. So that would be giving them or orienting them to something very realistic and practical. So here practical
Right.
things are very important. So that's why
Hmm.
setting your priorities, setting your goals, and setting the level of achievement that you want to have in your life, that is very important here. So be very
Hmm.
clear, be very focused about them. So that will help you in channelizing to a certain extent, focusing on the positive part, and making you more satisfied as you could have been before also. If you can achieve 100 things, that's great. If you can achieve 50 things, you should feel great in that too, because you are achieving it in this particular time. So that is also very
Right.
important. Then how to
Hmm.
connect with others, because as I said again and again, I'm repeating, the idea is social distancing, not social isolation. Okay, so
Hmm.
here one should make connections. You don't completely isolate yourself from the world. Okay, there's no point of that. You're a social animal. Learn it and remember it. That's the whole idea that should prevail in your head. Okay, try to
Right.
connect with people whom you thought you have lost your connections, maybe your old friend, maybe your relative. It's the right time. You can actually ask them how they are feeling. They'll also feel very connected to you at that point of time. They'll also, you can cheer up somebody just by calling up, just by sending them a text, a sweet note that
Hmm.
how you are. So
Yes.
these little things, they can do a lot of different, they can make a lot of difference in one's life. You don't know, if you're sending someone a text, probably that person is low, and then once this text appears on his or her screen, his day is literally enlightened. Like, okay, wow, somebody called me, someone texted me, that okay,
Yeah.
someone cared for me. So these are how you
Hmm.
make your connections with others. But
Right.
apart from that, do something for others. It's very important. Simple things. Okay, you are going out for grocery, you can ask your neighbor, what do you want? Because it's a time you can support each other. It's a time you can connect with them. It's a time you
Hmm.
can do something unanimously. So these things, you should do something for them as well, because they are also suffering from the same situation as you are. So
Right.
these are certain small gestures that make you connect to them, that that strikes a basic human conversation, communication, relation, and exchange of emotions. These are all very
Hmm.
important if you are living in a society. And another thing is, support a family member. Support a family member or friend. Suppose if someone is suffering from so and so illness, just by sending them some gift, or just by sending, it's an era of digital world. You can order anything online here. So
Hmm.
just by communicating little things from people in and around you, it creates lot of difference in their life. Okay, they still
Yeah.
feel connected, they still feel somebody is there for them, because in this time everyone thinks that okay, next is me, next is me. Now I am going to get it. So if you have somebody there, you feel supported, you feel that okay, no matter what, somebody is there for us too. So this is how you
Right.
feel, this is how you stay connected, this is how you make your conversation, you strike a connection with people. But the
Hmm.
whole idea here is, avoid stigma and discrimination. This is what I want
Yeah.
to highlight here. Avoid any sort of
Hmm.
stigma, any sort of discrimination, especially for the people who have contracted COVID, especially for the people who have just recovered from it, especially I would like to say doctors, because they are treating them. So any form of stigma and discrimination should be avoided. people should feel that it's okay to have a disease. It's okay even if we have contracted it. It's okay that the word should be normalized, that okay, ho gaya hai
Yeah.
usko, the person is suffering from it. Nobody wants to suffer from it, but if someone has
Yeah.
got it, nobody can imagine the stress and trauma the whole family goes through, especially
Yes.
during first wave, when nobody knew what is going to happen next. Everyone would be
Mm.
like, anyone would be jolted down. So the whole thing has in a way culminated into a lot of stigma and discrimination around. And that is why, eventually towards when the first wave peaked, and then even in the second wave, people were little reluctant to even disclose that yes, they are suffering from COVID-19, because they were
Mm.
so
Yes.
scared. They were so, they were
Yeah.
so scared that nobody is going to help them. Nobody is going to, especially
Mm.
for those who were on living on rent. They were like, oh, somebody is going to literally throw me out of the house, or in the society people will start talking about it. Nobody is going to help us. So a lot of helpless situation also prevailed because of this discrimination and stigma. So now is the time when we should understand that okay, this has become a normal, this has become a norm, that okay, anyone can get it, anyone can fall sick. So let's adapt it, let's adopt it, and let's become acceptable to it. So this is also very
Right.
important here.
Yes.
Now, if
Yes.
somebody would like to ask me when to seek help, okay, help is first of all always available for you. Okay, you don't have to think that okay, I cannot seek help because I'm living in isolation right now, or I cannot seek help because the doctors are really busy, there's no one to hear, the family support is less. Nothing. Everything is digitalized now. Everything is available on your fingertips. I have got so many patients who have contacted me from even abroad. Like I have got patients from Spain, I've got patients vocal about it. Now they are definitely asking for it. Like, okay, treat us. So mental health has become, a center stage here, that now people have started accepting it, that okay, it's all right. I am having problem. So let's open up and let's seek help. So this
Yeah.
is how the shift has also been, and I'm appreciating this shift, that okay,
Mm.
people at least, maybe I'm not happy for the part that okay, because of COVID-19 they were taught this thing, but at
Yeah.
least they know it. So at least
Yes.
they are more demanding, at least they are acknowledging the problem here. So
Mm.
there are a lot of people whom I have seen. So I can only say that somewhere, irrespective of the country you are living in, irrespective of the ethnicity, irrespective of the religion, it has impacted everyone alike, I would say. So be it the
Yeah.
physical symptoms, be it the mental health symptoms, they are all the same, irrespective of the place you are living. So you should know when to ask help. When you are
Yes.
overly depressed, when you are having sudden anxiety attacks, when you are
Mm.
having sleepless nights, when you are having nightmares, okay, this is also important. When you are not eating well and significantly losing weight, when you are using excessive alcohol or excessive any form of substance, you know it, because person deep down under knows it, that yes, I have become addicted to it, and this addiction is worsening day by day. Okay.
Mm.
Then if you are having any suicidal thoughts or suicidal ideations, sorry for putting it towards the end, but that's the first thing usually that comes to the mind of a person who has even contracted illness, or probably who has suffered for loneliness and depression for a very long time. So yes, even if you are getting these suicidal thoughts, suicidal ideas, you must contact, you must seek help, because it is invariably going to help you only. So that
Yes.
should be the target, that should be the aim. you know it's okay even if you have contracted illness. It's okay even you have been boggled down to have mental health disorder. Treatment is available, help is available, and you are not alone. Okay, there are many
Mm.
people who are suffering from this. So reduce this in fact diminish this whole thing, whole idea, that okay, am I the only person who has it? So don't worry, we are there, and we have seen plenty of you alike. So you are not alone. You will be given adequate help, you will be given adequate support. Just ask for it. So that's
Wow. Wow. I think this conversation has been, so profound, and I think you've extensively covered all the aspects that, that one, yearn to hear, I think, in terms of how to take care of the body, of the mind, how to, stay connected with friends and with people, and then, of course, when to seek for help and how to do that. I think you really covered every part, I think, that, one was really, looking forward to hear. And I am myself feeling so, how do I put it? So thorough with this whole knowledge about, COVID, and, how one can actually take small steps, to take care of themselves and also help other people and, inform other people as to, what are the things that you're supposed to do, in terms of taking care of your mental health. Because I think at the end of the day, like you said, it's something very normal, and, we need to remove the stigma that has been, attached to it. And I'm so grateful that you explained every aspect, of this particular topic so beautifully, and also in a so, in a simplistic manner that, any lay person can understand. Like, I think you've really, simplified every aspect. And I think people were also, I think I was reading in the comments that the conversation is going so well, and, it's so good. And I'm sure, once we end this conversation, a lot of people are going to listen to it again. And I
Yes.
think it was an absolute delight, to have you and, to listen to you and to learn so much from you. So thank you so much for
Thank you. Thank you
enlightening all of us.
praising me so much. I think because I feel that I personally feel that these information should be conveyed to people so that they can
Yes.
understand it better. You know, a lot of instances that I have picked, they are genuine instances which have happened, and they are, you know, they are quite relatable at on some grounds. I think many people would
Hmm.
relate to it, and I feel these should be addressed not just once. You know, it should be addressed quite frequently, so that it gets embedded in the mind of people that okay, it's a
Yeah.
norm, it's a normal thing. You don't have to, you know, make it a blow a trumpet out of it, or you know, make it a hype. So
Right.
let's normalize these things, because it is, who knows when the COVID is going to end, who knows how many more waves are being expected.
Yeah.
So let's be prepared for it, because now it has become, you know, the lifestyle that we are leading, we have somewhere got adapted to it.
Yes.
So let's normalize these things, and let's inculcate these healthy habits, be the COVID or not. It is the similar habits what you are going to have right now, they are anyway healthy. And even if the COVID is gone, it will be, you know, it will be a part of your lifestyle that is going to give you so much of strength, so much of motivation, and so much of, you know, positivity. So
Yeah.
why wait for COVID to happen to teach you these things if this can happen at any point of time? Okay. So
Hmm.
whatever I have said, these are just genuine points, and you know, they are very general. If you you know,
Yes.
you search anywhere on Google it, or do any
Yeah.
research, you will find these general points. They are there everywhere. It
Right.
has nothing to do specifically to COVID as such. They are
Hmm.
there for any point of time. So let's inculcate these simple and healthy habits, and you know, exercise a healthy living, be the
Yes.
COVID or not. So that should be
Right.
the aim of your life right now at
Right.
this.
And like you said, all these information, they're readily and easily available, but do we even reflect upon them? It's important to imbibe them. Like how you said in the beginning, we're exposed to so much of news that, these things are happening, and you keep on watching it, and then somehow it gets embedded in your mind. So similarly, if we make a shift in our life to watch such conversations and you listen to such conversations on mental health,
Mhm.
imagine the kind of things you imbibe in your daily life. Then I think that
Correct,
would make a
correct.
huge shift in lifestyles.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that should be the focus, and that should be the aim. And
Right.
as I've seen many people, they are liking it, they are saying that okay, good. So I just hope that from today's conversation, at least few points you can inculcate in your lifestyle. That would
Yes.
be a genuine tribute to us, that yes, we have successfully conducted a chat. So that should
Yes.
be, you know, the aim of this whole conversation, that
Yeah.
we have, you know, put forth. And one more thing, that always believe that help is available for you. That should be your take home message, that irrespective of what the situation you are into right now, never feel that nobody is there for you. You never know, there is always support, there's always some support behind you. And the help is always available for you. It's just a tap distance, I would say,
Hmm.
because you just have to open your screen and tap on it, and the help is
Yeah,
readily available. So
absolutely.
before you end up doing some extreme thing, or you
Hmm.
take up some extreme step, be relaxed, be assured, there will be people who will listen to you, there will be help which will be readily available to you. So believe in that.
Right.
That's
Yes. And show up for yourself, you know.
correct.
Show up for yourself, show up for your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
So, on that note, I think we'll conclude this amazing conversation.
thank you once again. Thank you. Your story is important for bringing me on board and giving me this opportunity to have a word with you, to share my thoughts with the great audience here. So thank you once again for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. Chalo, take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.